So grateful to be here. So grateful to be back, baby. I give all praise and honor to the divine, to my spirit team, ancestors, guides, and guardians of the highest white light that keep me well informed and that keep me alive as well as that keep me sharp, physical. Y'all, I was guided to do something a little different today. I was guided to create something a little different today. And I'm being led by spirit, so I am obeying what spirit wants me to do. Definitely come as you're coming to take your shoes off, babies, before you come in my house. I don't allow shoes in my home in real life and in these spiritual streets, okay, or these virtual streets, either which way, both, okay. Uh, so definitely like the video, share the live, like it, share it, etc. Share it so that it can help someone else. Uh, it may help you if you're a part of the high vibrational chosen collective. Um, but yeah, I'm so grateful to be here and I'm so grateful to get started. I'm so grateful that you are here as well. Okay, whether you're watching this in the dawn, the early morning, okay, around lunchtime, whether you're watching this live, you come into the live as I'm live, whether you're watching it in the evening, tomorrow, the next day, the next week, okay, this is a timeless message, okay. Um, y'all, when I tell y'all my spirit team don't miss and source does not miss, baby, I am the portal. Okay, so we're gonna. I did a few cards now, so it's different than what I usually do, and I'm just being guided by spirit, like I said before. I wanted to know the message for the collective today, and I was guided to create some, new cards. I'm not done yet with the cards that I created, but it's straight to the point. So also, I hope that the High Vibrational Collective is having a wonderful, marvelous day. Mine is going very, very wonderful and marvelous. I got up today. I was blessed to have another day at life, to be protected, to be safe. So I'm giving all praise to my spirit team and to the divine. And those of you that got up today, you should be doing the same thing as well. It's a lot of people that did not wake up today. It's a lot of people that will not wake up tomorrow for one reason or another. Excuse me as I sip some of this lime water. And so you should, I've learned to be grateful for the simple things. It's usually the simple things in life that makes life worth living. So yeah, with getting into this read, y'all, the first card out is chemical warfare. Now, if you've been seeing what's been going on in America, globally, it's a lot of chemical warfare, okay, that is going on. These I'm hearing these not these institutions, but these corporations adding a lot of chemicals and things that, don't need chemicals to be added into it. I'm picking up on hair products, food, water, outside of, the over, them putting a lot of fluorine in the water, but they're adding other things to the water. I'm picking up the chemtrails. Okay, this is what I'm picking up on with chemical warfare. I don't know what they're putting in the gas, okay, but it does not smell like gas that is directly coming from the earth. It smells like they're adding some sort of other chemical or substance, and it has a different smell to it. I'm hearing it's weaker than pure gas, but it's serving another purpose. That's why it's burning out of the cars a lot quicker. Pushing that into the air with the chemtrails, with the air pollution in certain areas, etc. That is the warfare is a form of population control in certain areas, because we're, whether you want to believe it or not, in America, different countries, we're all under this dome, together. So what happens in one part of the states or one part of America, or one part of, so-called the world, it affects other parts. Okay, especially when it's things like chemicals and things that are spreading throughout the air and hitting more areas, you get what I'm saying, than just the intended target area, etc. So Spirit wanted me to speak on that, but this is totally connected to America. It's going on globally, just with different forms of chemical warfare. But it's I'm hearing that it's directly connected to America. So with the next card coming out is Messiah. Okay, so there is a specific ancient bloodline, holy bloodline, okay, of considered the Messiah bloodline, the original confirmation. Thank you, Spirit. Confirmation burp. Yes, the original bloodlines of Shem. Okay, the original bloodlines of the Shemitic people. Okay, the original people of the planet. Okay, um, what I'm picking up on is it's been an attack, a chemical attack on the original people. I'm hearing of the sun. Okay, people that have a direct connection. Okay, to the sun, solar beings, organic life forms, being in oneness with nature, what our ancestors did, okay, and what we should do in order to continue to live, okay. I'm picking up on that it's literally like an attack on the messiahs within America, specifically within the so-called Black American population. I'm picking up on America is the original old world, also the original holy text is based in the Americas, ancient America, Mesoamerica, with our bloodline. We are not Africans. Africans are another bloodline. We're not African at all. No bloodline relation whatsoever. The collective group of us, different bloodlines, different bone structures, different genetics, all together. Um, is specifically targeting our people. Now, different chemical forms of chemical warfare is going on globally, but it's specifically targeting the messiahs, and it's I'm picking up on it's also targeting the women that give birth to the messiahs. Okay, the original. I'm hearing the original daughters of the cosmos, the original daughters of the universe, the original Black Madonna. The I'm hearing the Virgin Mother, Black American women, okay, foundational Americans, the Aboriginal American to American Indians, okay? Here since the beginning, okay? Because if you want to attack the Messiah bloodline, also Messiahs are not just male. There were female and male Messiahs, okay? It's not just a man, okay? To be the Messiah, okay? That's another misconception that a lot of the times with the patriarchal system, misogyny, the Bible only speaking on males with every aspect of it, and then when there is a female outside of the Virgin Mary and etc., they'll speak of a female being a Jezebel or being a whore or being this or being that. But that's not the truth. Not the truth at all. A lot of these males, okay, to be fair, there are Jezebel females in every group. It's a spirit, okay. It's a spirit that operates through a person, that can operate through many different people, not just the people of the holy book. Or the holy bloodline. But I'm picking up on there were also males that carried that Jezebel spirit as well, not just females. Yeah, just like it's males that could be whores, just not females. It's males that sell their body for sex, just not females. But in this patriarchal system where they demonize women, it's always a double standard for women. But then you turn around and when men do it, it's like, oh well, he's just being a man. Oh well, he's just sowing his wild oats. Well, a female does it, whether she's you get what I'm saying, doing it for pleasure or whatever. It's always a double standard. And it goes back to different holy texts being certain thing books being broken apart, different things being added into those to kind of put males on top of women. But it's no way that males as a collective group could be um on top of women, as opposed to like, hey, well, you're supposed to be listening to what your man is saying, and if you don't have a man, you're not a woman. You get what I'm saying? The different cultures globally, air, or another, you get what I'm saying? A son, if you don't give him a son, then you're not a woman. No, it doesn't go like that. A man cannot give birth naturally to himself. A woman has to do that, and it comes from the mother gods uh prior to males, okay, being in this plane of existence within the ice wall, not needing a male to procreate or at all, because there were no males here. And the mother gods were able to procreate with themselves, asexual, okay, fifth dimensional. Okay, there was no males, and that's why it's more women on the planet than males, because this is a feminine planet. Okay, the mother and or daughter Gaia is a feminine planet. This is a feminine planet. Mother Nature. Okay, well, the mother gods. Okay, there was no men here. And the mother gods. I hope this is not going over people's heads. There was no men here. Not saying that they didn't exist in other star systems, etc. Because we know that they did. That's how they came here, and then didn't want to leave, and then wanted to subjugate the mother gods and cause trauma to, whereas you know um we see this happen today, where globally women are being raped and children are being raped and sodomized, little girls and little boys, as far as forms of certain males and certain, now certain um females that go along with these certain societies and doctrines and these entities that feast off of innocence and purity and etc. They like to target certain women, certain young girls, certain children, males, females, etc. It's a form of energy harvesting, and it's literally rooted from the fallen ones, the fallen of the Nephilim, which is basically represents Satan and his angels that fell from grace, okay, because they took advantage of the mother gods on this planet, okay. So that's the whole Bible story when they're talking about Adam and Eve. I didn't know I was going into this, but Spirit wants me to. When we're talking about the Bible story and Adam and Eve, the version of the story that they give you is a version of Eve is not. I'm hearing Lilith. Okay, so I'm hearing Lilith. So the original mother gods could, be a representation of Lilith. Don't quote me on that. I'm literally channeling right now. But Eve is the version of the woman or the female after the fall, after she forgot who she was, after she lost her power, after she fell into a form of devastation and trauma and sexual trauma and abuse and etc. from the fallen of the Nephilim preying on the mother gods, okay, because they wanted her to carry their genetic, okay, the whole father grandfather clause, the whole you are what your father is, when really you are what your mother is. uh uh, you know you get what I'm saying, especially or being organically from the mother gods. Now it's certain people that are on this planet that have do not have access to activate their mitochondrial DNA because of the raping that happened and the I'm hearing the exploitation of the mother god's innocence. Okay, our mother gods didn't have, we're on the 5D plane, in harmony with nature. There was no such thing as murder, living amongst the animals, the dinosaurs, etc. freely. 5D is, higher. It's no, all of the death and the murder and all of that was not apparent here at that time on the planet. Um, but when the fallen angels came, which were males, they basically came with that, the fall. Okay, the fall of the mother gods. Okay, the fall of from 5D conscious and higher consciousness to 3D. Okay, which is a form of a prison. Okay, if you're coming from being a god and then going from being able to create yourself asexually with no one else because you have both the female and male organ. Now, another thing with okay, so with certain males or with males in general, some are organic, some are inorganic, etc. on the planet, etc. But um, a male penis is basically the ovaries and basically a vagina, a uterus, and the ovaries flipped inside out. Okay, basically males, their ovary and their ovaries and or the uterus is out inside out. Okay, it's external, as opposed with women, it's internal. Okay, because they are a mutated version of the woman. Okay, that's pretty much what it is. So it's no way when you break everything beings and or the inorganic beings, that et cetera, that kind of mankind, etc. I don't want to get too deeply into that. It's no way that a male, in the Bible. Okay. I got a lot of thoughts going through my mind right now. In the Bible, they basically say, because I'm channeling, okay, like, share, and subscribe. In the Bible, they say that Eve came from the rib of a man, when really Eve, is a version of a female that literally lost her power, forgot who she was, and was brainwashed and programmed to serve males, uh, give to males, procreate, to give birth to to give birth to uh, more women, to give birth to males, and more males. Okay, to dominate and to rule over it. You get what I'm saying? That was a form of Eve is a form of the woman that has forgotten who she is. Okay, a woman that doesn't have her own mind. A woman that is has to put herself down. Because when you're dealing with a real man is not going to destroy the woman, a strong woman. He's actually going to build a strong woman up, because a real man, not a boy that's overgrown, y'all. A real man is going to build up the woman that he's with, because he knows if he has a strong woman, he's going to have a strong family, a strong household. The woman runs the household. You get what I'm saying? The woman makes sure that things is flowing in order. The woman is birthing and nurturing and carrying, giving birth to the children. Yeah, he's there, he's helping, but a real man knows that he's really nothing without a good woman, a strong woman. Okay, a male that is effeminate or has issues with his manhood, he would see a strong woman or in a beautiful woman and want to tear her down. He would want to compete with her. He would want to have other women, with Jezebel energies, because those males embody the Jezebel energy, very jealous, very envious. Hey, I want you to fight over me. A female that doesn't know who she is or her worth or who she really is organically, beyond the matrix, beyond the patriarchal religion, where they say men are everything, and women are just supposed to be sex slaves and maids and cooks and breeders, and you get what I'm saying. And just the way they paint it is that women are just there to basically to give to the male, and they should be happy that they have a male. But it's really the other way around. You get what I'm saying? They twist it and they turn it, because even though a male is supposed, usually 9 times out of 10 is more stronger than the female. The male is more stronger than the female, so that he could protect the female and the children. Okay, so that he could go build, so that he could go hunt, so that he could go, do things and fix shit around the house. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? That's really what that strength is for. It's not to beat up on the woman. You get what I'm saying? It's not to beat her down and to tear her down. Hey, you don't have a penis, so you're less than. No, women give birth to men. So it's in no way that a woman could be less than a man. And in any real relationship where, you're dealing with a real woman and a real man, that real woman is not going to abuse her power that she has, okay, as a woman. She's going to build that man up that's building her up. That's why you got to be with people that are equally yoked. A strong man being with a weak woman that really is competing with him, that she's using him and compete, that's not going to work. A strong woman that is building, that is, beautiful building, with a weak male, okay, that's competing with her like a female. Every time she's trying to communicate and build, he's causing fights, he's jealous, he's gossiping, they're cheating. It's not gonna work. That's why they say you got to be with somebody that you're equally yoked with. Okay. And I know, this is a story, because even, what I'm saying, even, the original messiahs, okay, just to be real, is the embodiment of the woman. Okay. It's the embodiment of the woman. Okay. There are male messiahs here now, as well, or that are being born as well, but the original Christ is the woman. Okay. That's why a lot of the times women are demonized, especially women of color. If you ever, open your eyes to see, okay, who is the most demonized women on the planet, Black American women. That's why FBA comes out here, foundational American. Okay, the most demonized people on the planet is foundational so-called Black Americans, Aborigine Americans, American Moors. There's so many daggone names. To American Indians. Okay, the colored people of America, the copper colored races of America, whatever, however, which way you want to label it, Black America, whatever make you feel good. Just as long as you know that these people in the Americas, and specifically in North America, are the original people that was here in the beginning, on this land mass, okay, on these land masses before the pilgrims came and set up shop. Okay, that's why Malcolm X said the Pilgrim Rock, no, Plymouth Rock landed on us. We didn't land on Plymouth. Okay, that's what that means. Okay, that's what it means. So the most targeted women in the world, the most imitated women in the world, the most targeted women in the world, from other women in their own community, from other males in their own community that hate them, that want to be them, that want to cross dress, that's down low, other men that are misogynistic, okay, are mostly murdered by their own males, whether they're gay in the closet. And then not only do we have to worry about is the male that we loved and we used, or a male that's in our family that could be jealous of us, or a male in the community or women in the community that could be jealous of us. We also have to and have been worry, okay, in the back of our mind, in one way or the other, if a racist Becky or female, or a racist Caucasian male that has a thirst for blood is gonna want to target us, or our little girls, or our family members, or our children, or our men. So real men, not these little bitch ass niggas, that they walking around now, and you get what I'm saying? Not the type that's, against their own group and race of women, even the ones that are like-minded and, ascended and, trying to heal and elevate, not those kind, not the boulets, not the ones that, get money to sell their people out so that they could get some trinkets off the colonizer's table, okay? And also with the word massa, that doesn't mean master. That's another thing. I keep seeing that, and it's crazy, okay? It's crazy and it's insane. So massa doesn't mean master. It doesn't mean we were calling these people masters. They were not our masters. Massa means foreigner. Massa means strange people, strange tongue, strangers, okay, that do not belong in our land. That's another word for massa. That's why people that are Indians, Aboriginal Indians of this land, call a lot of these pale faces, or call Europeans or Caucasians, foreigners that were here on our land, trying to see what we had going on, trying to figure out how to get a foothold and how to get a one up on us. We called them massa. Okay, that doesn't mean that we were calling them master. Okay, that's another lie that goes along with the false narrative of our people, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of Aboriginal women are demonized. Men and women. Okay, especially if they're divine. Okay, especially if they're ancient souls, they reincarnated, they're ascended masters. Okay, because a lot of these people, whether they're in our community, or they're Africans, or they're immigrants, or they're pale immigrants, or dark skinned immigrants, whatever, they all imitate us. It doesn't matter what we do. They all will find a way to try to argue and fight with us and blame us. Whether we are directly to blame, what we see in America with mass immigration, with a lot of these immigrants of dark and pale complexion being removed, okay, from America, that violated rules and laws, okay, that came over here with no documentation. This is directly connected to what is going on. This is playing out galactically, okay, and we are literally the microcosm of the macrocosm. Okay, this is what it is, y'all. These people want to be us, clone me. Okay, this, I didn't even know that I was gonna see this in this way. Okay, so these people really want to be Americans. They really want, that's a form. Ooh, Spirit is talking. Thank you, Spirit. Being an Aborigine American is being from the holy bloodline. America is the Holy Lands. The original home of the Hindu and the Buddhist is America. The original India is America. America is the true old world. This is the beginning and the end. This is why certain things have to play out in America. Okay, Babylon operating in America has to fall. Oh God, the X marks the spot. So America and as well as all other parts of the world that were benefiting and utilizing this Babylonian system against the original Americans to harm the land, to harm certain people globally, etc. Have to fall for all of the bloodshed, all the evils, okay, of what they have been doing for years under their rulership. I'm hearing demonic rulership. Okay. So that's what it is. This is why, okay, online, a lot of foreigners, no matter if they're pale, they're lighter skin, they're darker skin, they're Caribbean, they're African, they're from the Middle East, Somalian, they in Africa, but they like to separate, et cetera, et cetera. The so-called Eurasian Native Americans, the Mexicans. This is why everybody wants to fight against Black Americans, so-called Aboriginal Americans, the copper colored race of America. Okay, it's because they want those American privileges that the system has given them, monies, okay, that came from our blood, our sweat, us building the system as Aboriginal Americans, certain accounts that were only supposed to go to us from that our ancestors had set up for us, okay, and us only. That bitch Kamala took it and gave it to these illegals, okay, paying for $500 a night hotel. See that shit. You get what I'm saying? Et cetera, et cetera. And you see, they'll use these puppets like Obama and Kamala. They're a part of the caucus, bloodline. Okay, they're not us. Okay, they're not. This is a whole nother bloodline, okay? It's a whole nother bloodline, and there's only certain people globally that get to be in certain leadership positions throughout this, global system or whatever you name it, okay? Whether you know it or not, they're all related. Obama's related, Kamala's related, Bush is related to Obama, okay? With their specific bloodline, it's people of the caucus that are very, very dark and very, very pale. And then it's mixtures, okay, subgroups and mixtures of those people that are genetically modified, okay? So you can't just say, hey, well, they look similar to us, so they're us. No, they have an entirely different agenda, but they'll play you, so-called FBA, Black Americans, like they got you with Obama and putting him right next to Martin Luther King, that was a sellout boule nigga, a Kamala, AKA, and stepping and eating fried chicken and watermelon and, going to the church around voting time. Because why? They need the vote, the energy of the foundational Americans, the indigenous Americans, okay, that was here before they got here. They know this is why these certain systems, I'm hearing the Civil War, I'm hearing the difference between those that were in the South and the North. The Civil War was a labor dispute. That's why American Negroes fought in the war on both sides, okay? The South was like, hey, we're going to trick them into these false contracts. We're going to use these indigenous people because we already was doing everything. We already was growing the food. We already had our own system, our own cities, our own neighborhoods, our own banks, our own, we had everything that because we've been doing this shit before these people got here. So they figured out a way to trick us out of our position to whereas they would benefit and we would work. Okay. So they got us with the pen, the trick of the pen. Usually when they say, we won the war physically, they weren't able to out combat us or out fight us. Our ancestors fought. They wasn't, grabbing us up and putting us in shackles and shit like that outside of isolated incidents. Okay. I'm not going to say that didn't happen, but those were isolated incidents. No, they got us with the documentation, signing on the dotted line. Hey, well, you guys are sovereign, but you're free, but we want y'all to come into this system. But in order to come into this system, you got to put that you Black and we white. You see that shit, that destiny swap shit. We didn't know. We thought we was gonna benefit. We was already warring against them and fighting against them, and et cetera, et cetera. So they was like, okay, this is how we gonna have to do this. Then with the voting thing. The voting back in the day, I feel like it was always a little rigged, but now it's rigged even more. It's just they just taking energy. And whose energy do they need? Just like when it was only us, the Aboriginal Americans and pale Europeans, etc., and a few black Europeans that helped them get over here. They needed to figure. They needed our energy. They needed our input. They needed they needed our us to work. They needed our skill because this is our land. Our land responds to us differently from them. So they figured out a way to, hey, well, we're gonna figure out a way to take their land and their plantations and their farms, with the taxes. We weren't used to paying taxes. That's foreign. We don't know nothing about that. The land was just passed down to us, and we farmed the land. As Aboriginal Americans, we're an agricultural society. So they introduced taxes. So we're like, what the fuck? They're like, oh, you owe this in tax. So they, as a system, they started to take our farms outside of those of our people that, really didn't know what the fuck was going on, was, raised in the country, wanting to go to the city to party because it looked fun. They had, music and bars and different stuff like that. So a lot of them, they just gave their land up for little or nothing. But for the majority, they figured out ways to take land through tax liens, etc. And also with during wars and during different wars and times of wars on our lands. Look at the Gullah Wars. Our people was fighting for 100 years, and there was many other wars that this system doesn't like to speak about openly. But that's when Trump just recently made that speech where he was like, so-called Black Americans, you don't get a lot of credit for, fighting in the war that was cold. Okay. When he was saying the Tuskegee Airmen, okay, so-called American Negro Indians, you're the only reason why we won the war. American Negro Indian women over there in the war being nurses, okay, abroad when they was in the war, they, you get what I'm saying, nursing them back to health, okay, etc., etc. They wouldn't have won. They needed us the whole time. It wasn't just during war. It was with everything, because we're the original Americans. Also with the Buffalo Soldiers, okay, it was, they needed both. They needed our people as in general to do anything. And so this is why with voting now, it's, these people that are immigrants here, whether illegal, or naturalized or citizens, they don't have that pull, they don't have that energy, they don't have that power, as opposed to them getting it from us. When you vote, you give your energy away. That's a form of devotion. Like when you go to a religious center, or etc., and or a church that's directly on a ley line, and it's an energy harvesting center, and you give your prayers and your energy. You're praying to that entity, whether you think you praying to to God, or you think you praying to let's say a lot of people say Jesus or whatever. You're giving your energy to that entity, okay, whether you know it or not, unless you have a direct personal connection with the divine. You get what I'm saying? And they take that energy. And with our people, since we are the holy people, as the messiahs, the so-called Black American woman and man, only could give birth to the messiahs, because we are a special bloodline of the Mayans. They need our energy. The Messiah is going to come through our bloodline. That is why our women are very much so targeted with these chemicals in the braiding hair, to fuck up our minds. To the hair is the antenna, so that they don't want us to tap in and connect to nature, and get these sun codes and etc. to activate, okay, to see what the fuck is going on, okay. Your hair is on your head, your brain is right there, okay. So when you perm and dyeing your hair, you're frying your antenna. You get what I'm saying? When you're perming your hair, you're frying your antenna, okay. You're disconnecting the signal. It's your hair, especially with Aboriginal Americans and real Aborigines, okay, of the planet and of the land. Our hair is our antenna. It's different from these other groups of people, mankind, okay? Caucasian people, they have an animal genetic in them. They do not have an antenna. Their hair is fur, okay? The certain so-called Mexican, okay? That's really Eurasian, the pale Eurasian, the dark, Hindustani, and the darker Asian, okay? These people, the Middle Eastern, they don't have an antenna, okay? They have hair. which is fur. No, we have hair. Our hair is our antenna. They have fur, but they call it hair. Okay, I hope that didn't go over y'all head. Also, certain Africans, okay, just because you're dark skin or as dark as night, and I'm not making fun of people's complexions because I think, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and in dark skin, it's a lot of beauty in that. But a lot of these Africans are not organic to the planet either. Okay, that's the hijack. Okay, just because you're African and they look like they got a little bit of an afro, our hair, whether, it's different. Okay, when you get close up on it, their hair is different from ours because they are genetically different from us. But they have darker skin and they might have, some, hair on their head that might resembles an afro, but their genetic components are different. Their hair is more duller, etc. A lot of the times with a lot of these Africans, tribal Africans, y'all have seen them, in Africa, their hair doesn't grow long. A lot of them are bald head. And I'm not being funny about this, unless, okay, they're one of those African tribes where they put that mud, that what is that shebe in their hair, and they put, literally, they braid their hair with that mud, and they leave the mud in their hair, different stuff like that. Then it's different. Or the Africans that are mixed with other what am I? I'm trying to put this in a certain way so it doesn't offend people. But it is what it is. The truth does hurt. But it's certain, basically, with certain people, like, the Somalians, and that have that like looser curl, or certain Ethiopians that are like Eritrean, they kind of mixed out. The Ethiopians that are not mixed out with the, I think they said the pale Italian genetic or whatever, their hair is different because they have that animal genetic, like, the Jewish, they have that animal genetic within them. So a lot of the times with that animal genetic, not saying you can't find some of our people with those looser textures of hair and they don't have any animal genetic, or they don't have any artificial DNA within them. Us as the original people, we could have loose hair and wavy hair and different uh, textures and phenotypes because we are the original people. So, if that genetic link hits, then you're going to get that phenotype, whether it looks like your parent, you look like your parent or a grandparent or great, great, great grandparent. We're very, very ancient. Okay. So we're not new to the planet, and we're not organic. So a lot of the times with our people, the Mayans, shout out to the Mayans around the world, okay? But also shout out to our special group of Mayans, and that is who we are as foundational Americans, Aboriginal American Indians, okay? The Messiah is coming out of our bloodline. You could also, in certain, shout out to our Naga Mayan family over there in India, okay? This is something that they wrote about, okay? They said that there is a special group, okay, of Aborigine Americans, the so-called Black Americans over there in America. Yes, they're a special group, and the Messiah is going to come out of that bloodline. This is why the governments, global governments, as well as this governmental system that's operating on our land, that's why they came here to get next to us on our land in the first place, because they wanted to have connection to us and our energy and what we're able to create and produce, inventions, etc., because we are the original, the alpha and the omega. Okay, the first language, okay, came from our ancestors. Okay, the Phoenicians that resided right here in the Americas is well. Okay, before that, I believe it was the cuneiform, a number, like a number code, okay, etc. So mathematics, astrology, language, agriculture, arts, spirituality, herbalism, okay, which is the first forms of medicine, okay, all came from the original people of the planets in ancient America, North and South, okay, in Central America. And this is what who we are. Foundational Americans, specifically those that were in America during the time of colonization, etc. Basically a soft press of them trying to figure out what's going on and what tribe was nice and what tribe was mean, and you get what I'm saying. Basically, the plan, to take from us even our identities, because they did not want us to wake up to who we are and to who they are, okay, on this planet as artificial life forms. I'm hearing created and or created and programmed by the Nephilim with their cursed genetic. Okay, that's what I'm picking up on. This is so deep, y'all. I'm so grateful to be here. I only pulled three cards. Okay, so I pulled the first card out was chemical warfare. This is why they love to attack, excuse me, to attach these stereotypes to foundational Black Americans. They love to chemicals all in our food. They love to get us caught up on all of these damn snacks, with all of this junk in it, genetically modified bullshit, putting, making sure that certain Aboriginal Americans are in certain food deserts, or that they don't have the money and the means to get certain foods, or afford to get certain foods that will heal them and help them, because us as original people, we need organic food, okay? As opposed to a human, let's say an inorganic human, or somebody, an inorganic Asian, an inorganic Mexican, an inorganic second term Native American, or etc., or the specific a specific African, or a European, pale or dark, that is from genetically modified genetics, they could eat something, not saying that it may not harm them in the same ways, but they may be able to get away with eating genetically modified, organisms, animals that are cloned, herbs and plants and stuff that are cloned, things that are, thrown together in a lab and packaged up to look healthy or to look like a snack, but it's really it has no I'm hearing it has little to no nutritional value. Okay, we cannot do that because we're organic beings. We're organic life forms. We don't come from clone people. We don't come from different waves of clone people and inorganic people. Okay, we are the original people, so we need organic food, okay, to eat, okay, for our bodies to heal, to function, for our minds to think, for us to live a quality life. It's not a want, it's a need. That's what I'm picking up on. This is why they love to give Aborigine Americans cursed weaves, okay, to put in their hair if they want to do braids, because we've been doing braids since before Africans were over here doing braids, or before they were even over in Africa doing braids. We do our own specific braids over here because braids are organic to us, okay? Corn rolls, okay? We come from an organic corn bread that's known as Indian bread. We are Indians. We are natives of America. We're not Africans. Our corn rolls connect to our agricultural society. Corn is also known as maize, which is the food from the gods. We are the holy people. The Most High sent that down. The heavens sent us down that corn, okay, so that we able to stock up corn and have corn and different crops and stuff stored up for the winter, so that we did not starve. So then we were able to not have to go out and hunt like certain Africans were having to go over there up until today, some of them, and hunt to get certain food. Okay, we had certain crops that we were growing, certain potatoes, okay, certain foods that we were able to store. Grits is made from the I'm hearing the mill of the corn, which we love as Aborigine Americans. Nobody else eats that but us, okay? Cornbread, that's unique to us, okay? That's our heritage, that's our culture, that's our traditional food, okay? Our biscuits, different stuff like that. We are Aborigine American. We're not African. We're Mesoamerican, and we're from the holy bloodlines of the feminine and masculine messiahs. Okay, this is why everybody follows what we do and mimics what we do globally. Okay, no matter where they are in the world. Okay, this is why we are the most influential organic Aborigines on the planet. Okay, of the Mayans, we're a special group of the Mayans. Our ancestors, a lot of our ancestors of royal bloodlines ruled the world from America. This is why the colonizers came over here to get right next to us, because they knew exactly who we were. They knew where they were coming. They didn't magically, when they say Christopher Columbus wandered upon America, no, he knew exactly where he was coming. And the Black European that is not a part of our bloodline, the black connected to the black hand, okay, behind the pale face, catch that. They knew exactly where we were as well. They knew when they were permitted to come over here, and prior to that, they were not. Why? Because America is the Holy Land. The Americas is the holy land of the holy people, of the holy scrolls. Okay, every other foreigner was only heard tales of America, but they were not able to come over here. This is why a lot of these foreigners and their offsprings, these inorganic life forms and etc. are they all come over here to get because those that existed back in that time, they wanted to come over, but they were forbidden to come over by spirit, by source. Okay, if they tried to come over, the waterways would redirect them back in another direction. They never was going to be because this land was protected, okay, by our ancestors and by source. So etc. These people were allowed to come over here when something happened in our land, something happened with our people as a large collective group of our people, where we started going against the divine. We started going against the divine mother, the heavenly father, and which our power came from. Okay, because we already had everything. This is the land of milk and honey. So this is why we were punished, okay, with these people. Not just those people, oh, they came over here and they were just so big and bad. No, they were chosen to be the oppressors and suppressors, and that form of a colonist, no different from the infiltrated Egyptian bloodline enslaving the Hebrews. Our people are the original Cometians and the Hebrews. Okay, at that time period, same people, different time period. Same people. We fucked up then. We had to pay, that karmic debt, okay, which went, which came with a lot of labor, which came with a lot of work, which came with a lot of us having to be worked to the bone and not get anything for it. Okay, but this is a time period where that shit is over. Okay, also what this is something else that I wanted, the spirit is telling me to say. So basically, a lot of these foreigners that came over here, whether dark Europeans, pale Europeans, etc., they took it a little bit too far. Them hanging our people was not a part of the deal. Them forcing their false religion on us as a people to indoctrinate our children and our people, it was not a part of the deal. It was supposed to be them coming over here, us having to share everything with these people, and not just having it to ourselves, etc., etc. But that was a part of I'm hearing prophecy that they violated. And so these people that were implemented and used, they're of a said cursed bloodline, the Edomites, etc. They're cursed because of how they were created, and the fallen extraterrestrial that created them, the fallen of the Nephilim that added their DNA within these people. And not only are the pale and the dark ones cursed, and the ones that are mixed cursed, it's because they're that cursed fallen angel genetic was put into them. And then there were other people, artificial life forms that were made, where I'm hearing Yakub, the fallen angels, they didn't implement their DNA within them. So those people are still, are artificial life forms. They don't have that cursed gene within them, but they also played a part and went under oath to go against our people and to hunt our people and to eat our people and to subjugate our people in many different ways in our lands. Okay, way back then and up until date. But now it's over with now. I mean, of course, in certain parts of America, you're going to still find people being hung, as human sacrifices, because, this patriarchal system. They want the male messiahs. They want to hang them to represent, to steal their energy and et cetera, through that patriarchal shit, with, males fighting over power and shit like that. Hey, I want to fight over power, and shit like that. It's more spiritual, okay, than what meets the eye. They're not hanging them because they're a Black American, okay? They're hanging them because they're Aborigine American, because they're of a specific bloodline, and they want to harvest that energy. You get what I'm saying? Not, it goes way past skin complexion, in featureism. It goes to who's who's holy, who's from a holy people, and who's not. Who's able to be redeemed if they do the spiritual work? so-called FBA, foundational Americans, okay, from the cerebrum bloodline, okay, and these fallen angels are from the cherubim bloodline, the unredeemables, okay. It don't matter how much they pray to the Most High, they are forever casted out into the abyss. There is no way that they're going to be able to get right with the divine mother and the heavenly father, okay. The heavenly father is an aspect of the divine mother in balance, you know. The most high primordial creator's balance between divine feminine and divine masculine energy, okay, throughout the galaxy, okay. There's a really big galaxy out there, y'all. It's not just you're not the only people living, okay, the only life forms and beings living. No, there's millions of star systems, okay, millions, okay, to infinity and beyond. So when you really, when you really open up your mind, a lot of, foundational Americans, foundational Aborigine Americans, so-called Black Americans, we are the difference between us and a lot of these other people here, whether dark, light, pale, is that they were created here. Okay, we're not from here. The mother gods is not from here. They came down into this atmosphere. They're from the Sirius star, as well as the patriarchal line is from the Orion star system. Okay, we are very, very, very ancient. Our genetic is very, very ancient on this planet and beyond. Okay, that's the difference. That's why anything we do, any move we make, all the majority of all the inventions, till date on this planet and technology, a lot of it, we had to create it. We had to tap into that genetic to create it and bring it down into the 3D. Also, the governmental system has been getting a lot of this technology from a lot of these extraterrestrials as well. Um, yep, a lot of, and not all extraterrestrials are evil. We have extraterrestrial DNA as foundational Americans, as Mayans, as organic life forms. Okay, it just depends. Okay, some it depends on how you come at them. Okay, a lot of people on this planet that appear to be human are not human. Okay, the reptilians, the draconians. Okay, those are more so. I don't know. It's a lot of them that are evil. A lot of them that, et cetera, et cetera. And it's other ones that they'll deal with you based on how you deal with them. There's also otherworldly beings, earth angels, different shapeshifters that could be, not bad, and then others that could be evil. It just depends on who you run up against. Okay, so it's a lot of otherworldly beings here. Okay, that appear to be human, but they're not human. But anciently, our ancients were in direct communication with them. So yeah, this is the energy, y'all. This is pretty much the energy that I'm picking up on. It's a lot of people. I'm also picking up on it's a lot of the meat, the meat. And a lot of these communities, not just Black Americans and FBA or whatever, Indians, etc. A lot of the meat is cloned, okay, and they know what genetically modified things could do to our DNA, which is shut it down. Okay, I'm hearing the junk DNA. So that a lot of the times they say, hey, well, you guys have junk DNA. No, that junk DNA is the DNA of God. But if you don't activate and do the spiritual work to activate your brain, okay, that is going to allow you foundational Americans, Black Americans, okay, to have multi-dimensional access, it's junk. They're calling it junk because they want to deter you from doing the spiritual work and don't want you to go deeper into what the fuck you got that they don't have, because they want to harvest your energy for their benefit. This is what's been happening. This is what's been happening with this voting and this forced religion, and those of our kind and those of their kind that used to play, like to play in black magic, and take a shortcut and take all of these dark oaths to get a handout, because it's about who you serve. It's about the entity you serve, the God you serve. Every God is not the Most High Mother and Father. It's not the primordial creator, the one living God. These other gods are, I'm hearing, the Most High actually spanked our people before for serving these false pagan gods. Okay, and it's happening here again. I'm picking up on the energy of Baal, the ballroom, Trump's ballroom, which is really the ball, a deity, an entity, okay, that they are worshiping, they're giving their worship to. a lot of these dark cults and organizations, Luciferian, Satanists. Trump is both. He's a white hat and a black hat. He plays both sides, but he wants control. That's what it's about. Satanists, they want to force control, to get to, they want to force it. Okay, it's one thing about wanting to dominate and wanting to control and da 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 and doing different things to get that control, even though it may not all be good. With a lot of Satanists, they want to force control by any means necessary, whether it means, you know, taking the target out, whether it means, human sacrifice to get to take that energy to force their way. A lot of these entities and spirits that operate on these people have no conscience. Like, they have um no humanity, for organic life forms and or inorganic life forms. um it's but it's just all about the sacrifice. um wow, this is a whole nother level, bro. I only pulled a few cards and spirit is just telling it to me. I'm also picking up on a certain the chemtrails that a lot of the government is dropping. They're dropping these chemtrails in all over the place, but they're going overboard with the chemtrails in certain areas that are more urban, and that are in certain areas that foundational Americans, foundational Black Americans, and areas that they stay in. Why? Because we're connected to the land. Why? Because they don't want the sun to activate us. They don't want the sun to speak to us. The sun energizes us. It feeds us. It gives us communication. It activates us. Okay, we're solar beings. Okay, and they don't want that. The government doesn't want that, because they want to keep rule and power. But it's time for us to get our land back and us to take back the planet, as we're going towards the Polaris star, as we're going towards righteous rulership, as we're going towards the righteous matriarchal rulership, which is the only rulership that is in alignment with nature, Mother Nature, the sun on this feminine planet. Is with women, okay? The original Mayan women, the original Aboriginal American women, so-called Black American women. This is why a lot of the times we come from women that are so empowered. This is why anciently, this is why our women, fight for their rights, against oppression, against sexism, against racism, against classism, because this is what we come from. The matriarch ran and ruled this planet righteously before the patriarch, which is a distorted version of the matriarch, and this is what they call a matrix. Okay, it's basically a patriarch masquerading around as a matriarch, but it's really a demonic patriarch that subjugates women and children, and to stay on top. And the earth is tired of the blood and the bloodshed and the evil, okay, and the blood crying out, okay, from the earth, from a lot of these wars, these run by these males, many males, the ones that are inorganic, the ones that are organic, the ones that are Satanist, Luciferian, the ones that are just evil and wicked, globally polluted with these dark spirits and these entities that use women, as energy harvesting centers, and use women as birthing people, etc. A lot of places globally, a lot of women do not have rights. They can't call the police if a male is beating them in the street, if their husband is beating them in the street, and some of these other places, certain India, certain places in Africa, they'll go and create a lie, make a lie up. Oh, she looked at me, she looked at me in a sexual way, and a male could just run over there and beat a woman on top of the head, stone her in the street. Other males would join in and kill and beat this woman half to death. And if she can't call the police, she can't call nobody. Okay, so that's the difference. The matriarch, okay, was run globally, and of course, the Americas is the holy land. America is the grandmother and or the mother, not Africa. If Africa is the mother, we the grandmother. We the first lands out of the water during the last flood. Okay, Noah's Ark. Okay, all of these people that were in the Bible as males, they only talk about the males. Okay, they don't talk a lot about the women that were holy women, holy messiahs as well, Christ-like women. They a lot of the times they talk about males a lot, and then they like to demonize women, but that's a complete lie. They like to forget the women and only speak about the males and big up the males and not even give kudos to the women. You know, there would be no males without women. And also, you know, all praise to the Heavenly Father. There would be no Heavenly Father without the Divine Mother. The Heavenly Father had to come out of the divine universal mother's womb as another aspect of herself, representing the divine masculine, just like a male has to be born from a woman's womb to give birth. If you, in order to get a son, you got to come through the womb. In order to get a daughter, you got to come through the womb. In order for a male to be balanced, a real man, not a boy, not a demasculated male, not a beast. Okay, a real man has to go up into that womb to get healing, to find balance. The man is physically stronger than the woman, but the woman is spiritually stronger than the man. Especially if you're talking about the holy bloodline, the messiahs, the Mayans, the Egyptians, the original Cometians, the original people of India. We are the Indians. Eagle land, America. This is the land, America. This is our land. This is the holy land. This is the real old world. The original bloodlines. I'm picking up on the ancient Grecians, the ancient Greeks, okay, the ancient Romans. They're all a part of the ancient bloodline of the original Mayan bloodlines of the planet. Okay, they, you know, today in today's time in this up down upside down wicked world full of lies on in the stage play that's coming to an end of wickedness. You see so-called pale artificial foreigners over there in that civilization of Egypt or Kemet abroad that our people set up along with another one abroad that is not in America, because America is the original Kemet. They over there cosplaying, just like the fake Mexicans is over there cosplaying, the ones that are not organically from that land. You know, the dark ones with the deep curly hair and the negroid features. Yeah, those are, they're connected to our bloodline. These other people went into those lands and settled and assumed that identity, similar to the fake Native Americans as well, that share the same genetic code with these Mexicans. That's why they're getting deported off of these reservations, because they have no rights to be here. And the government knows that. So they're getting them out of here. They're getting these so-called Mexicans out of this land. Okay, they're sending all of these foreigners back to Central and South America. And a lot of them don't belong there. That's not a part of the original Mayan bloodline. But they got to get up out of here. You don't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. And it's, you know, it has to do with the Africans as well, certain Middle Easterns, certain Asians. Okay, it's cleaning house. Okay, and it's not only in the Americas, but it's on the planet as well. Okay, it's literally I'm hearing an ethnic cleansing of what does not belong in the Americas, what does not belong on the planet. And that's the thing, a lot of people that are, you know, so-called Black Americans of the Mayan bloodline, etc., if you are low vibrational and you're a devil and you're a demon and you didn't do the work, you're going to be taken out just along with these inorganic life forms that are wicked and evil and racist and prejudiced. You going out with them. You got the genetic components to survive, but you didn't activate it because you believe that it was junk DNA. See, it's frequency first, and then it's genetics. So some of these people that are not of the directly of the cursed bloodline of the you know, of the fallen of the Nephilim, the you know, the so-called Caucasus Mountains, etc., that could be in you know, artificial, but you know, they have a high frequency, they'll survive longer than somebody that is, you know, organic to the planet, you know, of the ancient bloodlines of the Americas, okay, etc., etc., of the Mayan bloodlines, okay. They'll survive because of their frequency. See, it's frequency first, and then it's genetics. So you can't have the genetics, you don't do the spiritual work, you being a devil, you don't join these secret societies and took all of these demonic oaths and blood oaths and vows of silence and and vowed to take people out and to kill, steal, and destroy, Hollywood style, Boule style, and think that the time of reckoning is not gonna eat your ass up. No, you niggas is going too. Y'all are going too. That you're going to be a part of getting taken up out of here off the planet, because the planet is going through an ascension to the 5D. Anything below that cannot survive. Anything that is abuse of divination and shit like that, and abusers of divination are not going to be able to survive. That magic is not going to work. It's ineffective. Y'all are being deactivated. Confirmation, car honk outside. Whether you are a organic life form or inorganic life form, playing in all types of witchcraft and Wicca and being, mixing it with all of these damn dark demonic and satanic religions and etc. and Catholic, bunch of Satanists and the evangelists, which a bunch of wicked ass Satanists and shit like that, or the church of Scientology type of shit, a lot of these Baptists, Christian churches and all of these denominations and Mormon, whether it's you're Aboriginal American, whatever the fuck you are, if you're of low vibration, and you're not going to be able to survive. The planet you will not be able to survive it. You're going to get wiped off the planet with all the other inorganic life forms of different phenotypes and pale, dark, mixed, etc. Okay, that's what it is. It's frequency, and then it's genetic. On top of what you did, what you've been doing, your karma, your karmic debts. Okay, what you've been doing, what have your ancestors been doing? How are you living? Are you living off of blood money? Are you living off of people stealing from people and genocides, so-called white tea Americans, okay, that love to throw around this wealth, but you don't want to talk about how your grandpappy and great grandpappy got that house, got that land, got that money. Stolen intelligence, stolen labor, stolen land, stolen invention, stolen ideas. Yeah, you who you are, your frequency, who you are, and the bloodline that you're associated with. All of that plays a role. And then how you've lived your life. Okay, not only this life, but the life in your past life as well. That's a lot of the times, y'all, they trick people into thinking that you only live once. YOLO. Picking up on Drake, okay? You only live once. Also, Drake's mother is Jewish, okay, and his father is a so-called Black American, okay? That's why Drake is big in the industry, because his mother is Jewish. You know what I'm saying? And they for a very long time controlled the finance and the entertainment industry, the banks. Okay, this you get what I'm saying, through his mother line, because you really are who your mother is. You can share the genetic code of your father, but you are who your mother is. Okay, that etc., etc. You get what I'm saying? Also, the Catholic Church has been reigning globally, they were the ones that forced it all globally anyways. Okay, then you look at the Pope, etc., etc., and it's connected to the Catholic Church, the Pope. And then I'm picking up on so much right now, y'all, excuse me. The so-called their Queen Elizabeth, which really is a goddamn evil reptilian. Okay, they're fake royalty. They're not really royal bloods. Okay, they had to steal from the original people. They had to steal from us. Okay, to have raiding North America. Okay, taking resources, riches, stones, literally almost everything. This is how they got everything that they got. Our shit. Okay, they masquerading, and now that shit is going down. Okay, with this so-called fake Queen Elizabeth, she's dead. The Pope is dead. Okay, their Pope is dead. Well, he been dead, but the dude that was playing him, they took out that character, and then the Rothschilds, connected to Ish, and the entertainment and Jewish, They're a kind of a Jew. They're a kind of a man. Because a lot of the Jewish people, they have so-called Black American Moors, Black American men, uh, more anciently, went over there to those parts of the lands and was sleeping around with those females that were over there, and using them as in brothels and as sex slaves. So they have the Ish started to, wanted to go through the father cause, because he's like, hey, well, genetically, we're connected, over there to those lands, and, et cetera, to rule this and to get this and that, because, the American Moors came over and was procreating and having sex with these females that were of a different species, because they are inorganic life forms. And they were fucking them instead of just watching and making sure that shit was good and shit was operating as it should be over there. Okay, similar to the so-called Italians. Okay, the American Moors went over there as well. Okay, when they ran, I believe during the Dark Ages. Okay, over there in Europe, they were having sex with these foreign females of different tongue. Okay, when they were supposed to be over there handling business away from their women. You see it more recently as well with Black males when they went to Vietnam to fight in the war. Guess what? They had a whole bunch of illegitimate children while they were over there. Okay, so this is nothing new. They know, especially today, as far as with so-called Black American males, and how they get on and lead their women for a Caucasian foreign whore. Okay, because it's set up like that. It's set up like that to funnel, to take genetics. Okay, to get their genetics, because they can't get the God gene, because that can only come from the Aboriginal American women. The males can't pass it on through their genetic. They can only pass on physical genetics. Okay, so then they use that, you know what I'm saying, to disenfranchise the Aboriginal American community, especially in America, and then, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it tells you, this is our shit. Whew. There is no competition here. It's ours. We can't, so-called Black, so-called American males, because I see a lot of this. You can't replace the women that give birth to you. You can't put a foreign female in her place because you ran out and fucked another race of female abroad, way in the past or more recently. Okay, you can't do that. You don't have that genetic code. You got the code through your mama. You didn't get it through your daddy. If they the same ethnicity and race or etc., then you can activate that. But that God code, that God gene, comes through the mother. The mother mitochondrial DNA comes through, and it connects all the way back to the mother gods that predates males being on this planet, or definitely predates them being needed to procreate. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so there's no way, when I see certain males, Black males especially, American males, I'll just call them Black, because they mentally, they spiritually dead. They not activated. They operated in the shadows. They haven't done the spiritual work. So if you didn't do the spiritual work, you're not going to be able to have access to certain levels of intelligence, and certain realms and dimensions. And, you got to do the work. Just because you have the genetic components and the genetics, that's one aspect. You got to actually heal your traumas and your wounds, and fight your demons, and do your shadow work, and you get what I'm saying. You got to actually do the work. You can't, if you wrong people before in the past, you got to apologize. You can't walk around and act like, hey, well, I got on my knees like how the Catholics do, and go to the fucking Catholic priest and confess your sins. That man is a nobody. He's not ordained by the Most High God. That's really the thing. Like, a lot of these people in general, but especially a lot of FBA, foundational Americans, they love running to these pastors and these deacons, and depending on where they are and what denomination of Christianity they're in or a part of, or affiliated with the Catholic Church, and they'll confess their sins. This male, more than likely, is satanic, is demonic, is cursed from a cursed bloodline, or joined allegiances and made dark blood oaths and pacts with people of cursed bloodlines. He's a part of that shit now. He has no connection to the Most High. You are who you are around. You are who you are connected to. You going and confessing your sins to a man and then going back out like the Sopranos and then killing, stealing, and destroying and thinking it's okay, it's going to come back to bite. It don't matter how many practitioners, black magic, how skilled you are in ritual, how much you know, how much you work with these entities, these demons, these jinns. It don't matter. If you offend somebody that has a divine connection that is ordained to do what they do, that has a connection to the universe and the cosmos, you're as good as dead. That's like running up to the Catholic priest, a real, well, the fake Catholic priest. They don't really have no fucking power. It's a stage play. The real people that got power are the ones that you think are regular people, or the people that you really think are nobodies. Clock that. The community FBA that y'all like to attack and group up on because they're different, that you think you're going to take out because they have a good heart and a pure soul. To be the family sacrifice, the church, the community sacrifice. Those are the people that carry more power than the Pope. These are the new world leaders. These are the earth angels. This is the restoring of balance. You done came up against a priest, a high priest, a high priestess, somebody that has direct connection to the divine. Do you not think, whether you are of an organic bloodline or of an inorganic bloodline, a lot of the times people get confused because they'll think, hey, well, this person is here and they got this status, and this person is connected to this mayor and they got this status, and this person is connected to, these secret societies and they're ranking up high and they got this status. Yeah, they got that status in darkness. They got that status until they come up against a person that is ordained by God, that is favored by God. It's on a multi-dimensional level of supernatural spiritual privilege, high ranking. You coming against a bloodline. You coming against something that you don't even have access to knowing or knowing about and connecting to and seeing. Whew. That's when you open up Pandora's box on yourself. When you attack a otherworldly being that doesn't look like, I guess, they're important to you. They were designed to look that way. They were designed to look that way. Certain imperfections, certain beauty or whatever. You get what I'm saying? It was a test. It was a trick. This is all in alignment to the reset of the planet. Be careful be careful how you treat people. You never know when you're entertaining or in the presence of an angel, of an earth angel. There's a lot of people that done did a lot of earth angels and messiahs and ancient souls and ascended masters of this holy messiah bloodline, of the bloodlines of Shem, of the bloodlines of the Shemitic people, of the bloodlines of the redeemable ones. This is why a lot of Black Americans get a lot of hate, because we're Aborigine American, because we're ancient American. This is why a lot of people that are foreigners are artificial to the planet and artificial to the Americas want us to be deported, want us to have no power, taunt us with our riches and resources that this foreign government has given them to shit on us, to spit on us, to spite us. Because they want us to feel like we don't have the power, but really we do. We have all the power. And those that did the spiritual work, we're now aligning to receiving it. Whew. They can't destroy us. They can't go against us. The black devil or the pale one of our bloodline or outside of our bloodline. The time for that is over. I can't make it up. Birthing centers. I can't make it up. Programming. I can't make it up. They've been programming, okay, specifically foundational Americans through these hospitals. Okay, these birthing centers where they test, oh, God, Spirit is talking, where they test every Aborigine American Indian, every Black American Indian that gives birth in these hospitals. Okay, they take their placenta, they test their placenta, they create and put our babies' placenta into products and pills and melatonin pills for these other people to take. Is that not energy, being an energy vampire? Is that not a form of a form of eating human genetic components? They tested as well to see when the Messiah is coming, and that the hospitals also check our baby's birth charts and do the natal charts. They know who the Messiah is based on the babies that are being born in a certain geographical location. And then the genetics that check out, they already know. They test the placenta. They do tests on it, especially ours. They'll go and take the placenta and sell it for $50,000 because they know how valuable it is. A lot of our women didn't know. We just thought it was just the way it was. We didn't know it. They have the baby. They clip. They snip. You looking at the baby. They slapping the baby. You looking at the baby. You tired. You done gave birth. They take their placenta and take it out the room. That's $50,000 worth of your genetic components. What are they doing with that? They're testing it. They're creating with it. They're testing to see if your child has the genetic of the Messiah. Then they're sticking all types of needles and vaccinations inside of our babies. Our babies don't get the same vaccinations as all these other people, as these so-called Africans, because they're not of our bloodline. They're not of the Masonic bloodline. They're not a threat to these people. Neither does these Mexicans or these other Caucasians, the poor ones, etc. They don't. That we are our children in these schools and in the hospitals get these certain version of these shots because they know who we are. Yeah. A lot of our women was also being attacked and murdered at a lot of these hospitals, a lot of these racist hospitals, okay, that love to commit murder. These doctors in these hospitals commit murder, and they've been getting away with it, okay, because it's a form of human sacrifice. That's a form of a lynching, somebody hanging from a tree. That's a form of a human sacrifice, killing the mother, okay, and a child barely surviving, or killing the mother and the child due to medical malpractice. That's a energy. That's 2-for-1 deal. That's energy harvesting. And then they take, once the woman and the baby dies, they do things with their organs and their bodies and etc. Certain family members that are looking like, hey, shit, they might not let them back on the property so that they can do what they want. See, this is it's a part of the system. The system feeds off of chosen ones' energy, the energy of the messiahs, the energy of the holy people of the holy book, the bloodline. This is why this shit happens with our people and our women and no other women in America, because we are the original people. We could only get the messiahs could only come through the Black American woman. This is why the Black so-called American woman is the most taunted, the most envied, the most cosplayed, okay, the most criticized, because we are connected to the direct link and tie to the mother gods. If you want to destroy a people, all you got to do is destroy the women. All you got to do is get the men to turn against the women to destroy them. The women are going to, out of survival, pass down certain things that are not beneficial to the little baby girls or the little baby boys, such as raising the women, okay, to be overly strong, okay, and not to have to depend on a male because the males are effeminate and not able to hold their own fucking weight. Males that and it's not only just so-called Black American males, foundational American males, it's deadbeat males all over the place. In Mexico, the ones that flee, okay, Africans, so-called Caribbeans, that males that leave their families and come over to America and never go back. It's effeminate males that have no balls and no morals and no courage, okay, and no goddamn character about themselves. But when we're talking about the foundational Americans, we're from the soil. We come from a specific group. We're not like these Caribbeans, and it's no shade. Okay, we're different. We're not Africans. It's different. It's different. We're different. And it is what it is. They've been attacking our babies and injecting them and doing all these damn experiments. I know experiments was done on me when I was in the hospital as a child. Okay, trying to test this out and test that out, make it look like an accident. See what this baby could withstand, because they know the bloodline that we come from. They know that we're Atlanteans. They know what our ancient Atlantean ancestors had the capabilities and powers to do. Those Marvel films are about us, so-called Aborigine Americans, Black Americans, flying through the air, having super strength, all of that comes from us. That's reality. That's in our genetics. That happens once we align, we cleanse and purify and elevate and activate our genetics. It's limitless potential, but you can't be a devil with doing it. Come on now. Yes, y'all. This is a message. I didn't know this message was gonna go like this, but it is, baby. I'm so excited, y'all. Oh my God, yeah. These birthing centers, Aboriginal American women, foundational American women, start going and doing what our women did with having these midwives. Go to trusted birthing centers to give birth to your babies. We used to have our own hospitals back in the day, our own towns, our own banks, our own cities, okay? Because we're the original Americans. So-called pale Caucasians, they needed us to survive. We didn't need them. They were living off of us, our skills, our talents, our abilities. Us coming from nation builders, mound builders, American Aborigine Indians. This is where we come from. We got to get back into having midwives and going to protected birthing centers and having people that know how to deliver babies that are not going to kill the women and kill the babies. We didn't start going through that until we had to go to their hospitals because they found a way to shut our hospitals down and or have our people feel like they needed to go to a more pale a hospital ran by pale women and men, and that it was better. That desegregation shit. Which really was not good for our people because we were better off when we had our own spaces and our own places for ourselves. Yeah, this is what it is. Programming. Yeah, they inject the babies with the children, the babies, the people. Okay, with this stuff to alter their DNA, to fuck with their mind, fuck with their pineal gland, to calcify their pineal gland. This is all about the chemical warfare. Also, programming through never ending streams of social media, songs with ill and demonic lyrics, okay, low vibrational frequencies, okay, as well as the mass consumption of all types of things that are not good, whether different things, okay, as a community, okay. It has to stop. It has to be a separation, okay, between those of us that are activated and healed and moving forward, okay, and those that are not and that are still lost in the sauce. It's 2026, y'all. This the war. This the year of the horse. Okay, we're moving forward with this. Yeah, I can't make it up. Weapons in the reverse. See, knowledge is power. When you know what's going on, when you know what the enemy is planning in the spirit, when you know what the enemy is planning and who they're going to use and utilize, whether it's somebody that looks like you, a man or a woman or female that looks like you, somebody that looks similar to you, somebody that looks differently than you knowing it, just like you knowing a person is your enemy, and you knowing people and or a person or a group is your enemy, you're able to disengage the attack. You're able to dismantle the weapon. I'm hearing the weapon shall form, but they shall not prosper. Yep. Mankind. People that have kinds of a man, forms of artificial genetic splicing, um, they've been used and them have been used, especially in the Americas, against us. They were weapons against us. And now these weapons are being dismantled. I'm hearing as a group. Okay, these artificial people and people that are organic but have joined on with this artificial Babylonian type of system and took certain oaths and allowed certain spirits and entities to possess them for the workings against righteousness. Okay, they're all going down. Yeah, this is the energy. This is the this is what's happening on the planet right now. The planet is heating up. It's not just global warming, y'all. It's the sun making crooked roads right, taking people out off of the planet that is does nothing but kill, steal, and destroy, whether they are organic life forms or not. What spirits do they serve? What spirits are possess them? What spirits do they work with, and or what are the frequency of those spirits? I can't make it up. Hurricane. Nature is dismantling, okay, different parts of the world and different parts of these demonic systems, okay, that have been warring against the innocent, warring against children, animals, kids, warring against people, okay, that have not done anything to deserve certain mistreatment and abuse of power. Yes, this is what it is. Hurricane. I'm hearing the hurricanes is destroying. I'm picking up on the government, especially the American government and the global government. I'm picking up on the UN as well. They are was utilizing CERN, okay, to force these hurricanes to be like more devastating and full of destruction than they already would be, because as Americans we are no stranger to hurricanes in certain areas, tornadoes in certain areas, thunderstorms, hailstorms, lightning storms, blizzards, okay, heat waves, droughts in certain areas of the land, earthquakes in certain parts of the land, volcanic eruptions, okay, this is nature, okay, fighting back, certain floods. I'm hearing apocalyptic rains. This is a form of the reset. See, the reset is happening now with nature organically, and it's happening with these systems that know that certain places must be desecrated and destroyed, uh, because nature is going to come in and do it if they don't. So they're trying to, these people, I'm hearing Luciferian, they're trying that Satanists that are also that are running the systems, the global governments, they're trying to hold on and force power, but they know they can't stop the destruction from happening, so they'll go on ahead and do the destruction themselves with CERN to try to hold on to that power. The spirit is telling me that the earthquake in Venezuela was not a natural earthquake, that was genetically altered. Also the earthquake correction that just happened in Colombia was not a natural occurring earthquake. It was something that was administered by it could have been them using CERN. I don't believe they turned the CERN machine off. They If they did or they didn't, they wouldn't tell us that they really did, or they're using some other form of technology with the tectonic plates of the earth, okay, to cause certain resets. The earthquake in Haiti was not an organic earthquake. Okay, that was an inorganic earthquake, and that's why it caused so much devastation to Haiti in 2010. Yeah, that doesn't mean that the Haitians are should be able to come over here and disrespect America, American citizens, as well as any immigrant, dark or light. As well as I don't believe that it gives Haitians the right to come over here and disrespect foundational and Aboriginal Americans, because them and any other immigrant would have nothing if it was not for us. This is our land. This is where we have been, and this is where we have built. And before the earthquake in Haiti and a lot of these other places, they still wasn't a first world. America's a first world because of foundational Americans, because anciently we came from first worlds, because we wasn't our people wasn't gonna live like pigs. And if our people was living like pigs and in an isolated part of the land and they're doing their own shit, that was not something that was widespread. It was something that was frowned upon. Okay. Yeah, washing your hands, washing your ass, cleaning your animals, okay, having a water filtration system, having a way to adequately dispose of garbage. Our ancient ancestors was doing that in America, hence to why we have certain systems and things set in place today, to whereas laws, governments, okay, people to pick up the trash, okay, you get what I'm saying, water systems to filtrate the trash, okay, to be able to just go flush the toilet and go to the bathroom and not have to go outside and shit and piss in a hole, okay, or behind a bush. You get what I'm saying? That's first world. That's Aboriginal American shit. We was creating these inventions. We were paving the way for these industries. The car industry, the trucking industry, the refrigeration system to preserve the dead, okay, or the passed over, okay, to have AC in the cars, in the homes, in a freezer and refrigeration systems, in the trucks to keep the food good so it didn't spoil on the way to the store or the market. Going into the grocery store, going to the freezer section, having AC, going to the refrigerator section in the grocery store. That's all foundational American. That's all first world. Thank us. Because without us, you wouldn't have it. The home security system, the World Wide Web, the technology to create the cell phone. Let's talk about it. The ambulance, the traffic signal, the doorknob, the doorstop, the stove, the oven. Shit, potato chips, ice cream, baby. It's on every level. Foundational Americans are the Americans. That's why when Trump said Black American history is American history, we are the Aboriginal Americans. There's no way to separate us from America. We're American beyond citizenship. That's something that nobody could take away from us. See, everybody loves to talk about us as a collective group, even though we got some degenerates and agents of our own kind, like other groups and people do. One thing you can't say about us is that we're dirty, we're nasty, we're filthy as a collective group of people. No. The bitch that got online and said dirty, filthy American, that bitch is mad because Haiti is dirty and filthy and nasty. They go around and throw trash in the middle of the street. Seas of garbage. And everybody walks by it and act like they don't see it. I can't make it up. That's not where we come from. We're not filthy. We're not animals. Okay? We don't come from that. We don't come from washing up and pissing and shitting in the same river that we're eating out of, cooking out of, washing our clothes out of, the animals eating out of. That's what a lot of these third world countries such as Haiti is doing. We don't come from that. We're builders. We have structures, homes, cities, apartments, condos, stores, civilization. We come from that. We built this shit from the ground up. Haiti don't got it's nothing over there. Look at the foundation of certain places in Venezuela. It literally was thrown up. It wasn't put together correctly. So that's why it was destroyed easily. Certain places in Asia, the same thing. Their buildings are definitely because they don't come from builders. The people that built it was not doing it the right way. We set the tone here. This is why everybody wants to come here. Oh, we could come here to call we could call the police and get away from domestic violence, from women getting away from anybody trying to get away from domestic violence. Does it have its problems? Yes. But this system where women are able to call for help, children are able to call for help, even though it's shit going on in the system, these other countries don't have that. They don't have ACs. I thought everybody had a goddamn AC and a refrigerator and a freezer and a stove and you get what I'm saying? No, these other countries don't have that. Also, Aboriginal foundational Americans created the elevator, y'all. There would be a whole lot of motherfuckers walking around this motherfucker up flights, a million flights of steps and not having the option of getting in the elevator. We created that. We created so many things. So many things. The technology to put together the phone. And so when I see these immigrants of from different third world places, Africa, the Caribbean, certain parts of Europe, Asia, and they come over here and treat us like shit, but they would be nothing without us in their homes and here, that shit is over now. It's over. Call the coroner. It's over. It's over. Certain surgeries, even with paving the way with certain surgeries. I remember Dr. Carter. He did the brain surgery, the first successful open brain surgery. And it was another Aboriginal American male that did the first successful heart transplant of it was a certain sick children or sick patients. Did it successfully. He didn't go to school for it, but he was a genius. He was born to do it. Because why? That genetic code and surgeries and creating, our ancients had that ability. All he had to do was sit down and read a book that somebody else at a so-called white school, a so-called school that's supposed to be having this and that better, quality books, whatever. Dude went there and went the Caucasian guy. I forgot the name of the movie it was, but I think Most Def played in that movie. So just look up Most Def, and then you're gonna see it's like a back in the day, 1800s. Don't quote me on the time period, but it was a little back in the day. And he sat there and studied. He was in the lab. He was literally studying. He was visual. He was reading the books. He read the book and was able to retain all of the knowledge and then go and implement that knowledge. And in a lab where the Caucasian people or pale faces, foreigners in this land, really didn't want him in there. Oh, what are you doing in here? Are you cleaning? What are you doing over there? He's like, oh, I'm an apprentice. Nobody was able to do the surgery but him. Not even a goddamn doctor that went to school to do it. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. It goes beyond. It's gifting. It's genetic. It's being original people of the original bloodlines and the holy bloodlines of the planet. Ooh, come on now. So yes, a lot of our people, have some fucked up shit about them, fucked up ways. If they don't want to heal, they're gonna get left the fuck behind with a lot of these other inorganic life forms that serve the same gods and practice the same bullshit that they have subjected themselves to. It's a reason why Ish targets the entertainment industry and targets Black Americans, women and men, to get them to sign the name on a dotted line, because Ish knows that they cannot be redeemed. They're a part of the fallen Nephilim genetic. Even though they got a little bit of aboriginal or more nigga in them from them niggas going over there and fucking these foreign females they wasn't supposed to be touching during that time period. Ish can't be redeemed. I'm hearing a scripture. There is no good in him because there is no good in their father. Satan, the fallen angel. If you got that genetic in you, if you have pledged allegiance with certain entities that are connected to that, made certain agreements with these dark entities, that are in alignment with that, you in that shit. You on your own. The divine ain't even gonna look at you. You're not gonna be looked at. Your screams are not going to be acknowledged. This is spiritual. I can't make it up. Come on, spirit. I split the deck on occult ties. I made this deck today. Ooh, confirmed with receipts. Confirmed with volcanic eruptions. I can't make it up. It's a lot of people that's losing their shit right now. Especially so-called sellout FBAs that wanted to sell their own people out because they felt like they had a smarter way of getting to the money. When you sell your soul for money and fame and riches, when you find, it's nothing worse than finding out that you got tricked out of your position by people or group and or entities that already knew that all the power laid in trusting the divine, the archons. These people done been, I don't know, the archons have been running the system, turning the planet into a prison planet, where a lot of these people with these occult ties that operate in the shadows, they feed and drink off of blood. See, ooh, spirit is bringing it to me. Ooh, a lot of these Ish and a lot of these reptilians, draconians, a lot of these Satanists, it's a ritual for them to drink blood because they are a part of the Canaanite culture and a part of the Canaanite bloodline. Therefore, a part, the fallen of the Anunnaki, the fallen of the Nephilim, the fallen ones, the fallen angels, Lucifer, and then the fall Satan. That pride, that ego allowed them to fall. Okay. Ooh, this is another level. So they, in order to experience some form of light or some form of pleasure or some form of, because they're in darkness. They've been casted away by the universal primordial creator for their sins that will not be forgiven even over their bloodline. This is why it's careful not to go and mix with the people that you think are like you, but they not like you, because you could go, if you run and go mix with somebody that is of the cursed Canaanite bloodline, your children are cursed. You see how that works with genetics? It goes way beyond, and then a lot of these, it gets so deep, but I'm hearing they know that they cannot be redeemed, so they trick the holy ones that are ignorant of their true selves out of their divinity. This is it's a, with the Satanists. I was going back to that with drinking blood. Thank you, Spirit. I caught that thought. Um, with them drinking blood, they have to drink the blood of the babes. They have to drink the blood of the innocent. They have to drink the blood of divine beings and or sacrifice divine beings and animals and children in order to create, because they've been casted out. They cannot work and co-create with the creator because they're cursed. So a lot of these Satanists and stuff like that, they have to drink blood. They have to do these or they choose to do these human sacrifices and child sacrifices and trying to attack divine beings because they really don't have no power because of the treason of what they did. Okay, they're fallen Nephilim. Okay, wicked, masculine extraterrestrials. Came here and did to the mother god. So it shows you, until you do right by your mama, until you do right by Mother Nature, until you do right by the women that give birth to you, the original women of this planet, until you do right and give honor and thanks to the Holy Spirit and to the Divine Mother and the Heavenly Father, and not just only, not saying you can't pray to the Heavenly Father, but the Heavenly Father is an aspect of the Divine Mother. So until you are balanced, and looking at things in truth and looking at people in truth, and the only way to do that is to literally be truthful with yourself. If you have anything you keep holding on to, if you got any traumas, if you got any things that you have been holding in your heart that's been hardening your heart and rotting you and destroying you, you have to release that. And because if you can't acknowledge your own truth, you're going to fall for you lying to yourself and the lies that the enemy wants to spew to you. So first you got to trick yourself, and then you allow, through your ignorance, through you being wicked, through you being unforgiving, through you not wanting to do the spiritual work to heal, you give the enemy access, whether you know it or not, or an ability to trick you out of your position. And this could be an enemy in your family. This could be an enemy of your bloodline. This could be an ex. This could be a lover. This could be a person of another race, of light, dark complexion, etc. I can't make it up. Racial profiling. I can't make it up. I didn't even mean to get that card, but that card just fell out. That was meant for it. It could be racial profiling is basically a person projecting the hate that they have for themselves on another person, on a specific group, because they feel inadequate, because they see them as more powerful, because they see them as genetically superior. Because really, if they had the chance to be born, they will be born as them, especially when you're talking about somebody that is so-called Black American or Aborigine American Indian from a holy bloodline that has that has the choice to be a devil or to heal, okay, and be divine and be able to have access. A lot of these people that are inorganic life forms and racist and want to stop certain people within America, and also Aborigines that are organic from the Mayan bloodlines, okay, globally, a lot of people do this. They pushed the Aborigines of that land, the Australians, the original people of Brazil. It's segregated in Brazil. The original Tasmanians, they tried to wipe them out just like they tried to wipe us out. The American Aborigine, American Indian genocide was a genocide that outnumbered so-called the Jewish genocide by far. But the one you hear about is the Jewish people. Why? Because they want you to mourn their loss, but they don't want you to mourn the loss of your own people by not knowing who you really are and what the real story is. It's been more genocides as well. It was the Pacific Islander slave trade that happened way before the Aborigine American Indian slave trade, where they took our people and dropped them off to different parts of America. The Aboriginal American slave trade, and then took them to Europe and certain other parts. Okay, and then the Pacific Islander slave trade was with our Mayan people that look like us over there in the Pacific Islands, where they was bringing them to different places and moving them around. I don't know all of the places, but it happened before this one. Then you have the ethnic cleansing of Europe, where they took out all of the commoners and the peasants and cleaned out their mental institutions and their prisons and their homeless people. The so-called white cargo. You could check that book out, where they had a lot of um, uh, uh, um, so-called Caucasian people that were not upper echelon, and they shipped them to the Americas for this agenda, the 13 colonies. Okay, this is what actually took place. But y'all, economic collapse. I can't make it up. This is an economic collapse. This has to collapse. It can't stand anymore. This the blood, sweat, and tears of the Aborigine American, while we get cheated as a collective group. Yeah, it was a lot of our people that was making it, that was getting money, that was doing different things. But as a collective group, we've been disenfranchised time and time again in different time periods through different centuries. The shit has to be over now. Economic collapse. This is what America, that not our land, but America, the corporation that is has the spirit of Babylon. Okay, it has to fall. Yeah. Yeah, this is the energy, y'all. I didn't even know I was gonna go through this. Yeah, yeah. Racial profiling comes out again, bro. Spirit wants me to talk about racial profiling. It was a lot of racial profiling going on in America. With our people, with the different levels of genocides and wars. Shout out to our people, the Gullah Wars, when our people was fighting 100 years against oppression. Okay, against oppression from the treasonous people of our own kind and the pale and dark skinned foreigner from Europe, the European. Okay, yeah, pale horse, death. I can't make it up. These people that came over here doing all that killing, stealing, and destroying. Okay, to because they wanted to collapse our I'm hearing our Negro Indian towns and cities. Okay, so that to make us more dependent upon them because they needed us. They were dependent upon us. I'm seeing what happened, what was happening then. I'm seeing the ramifications happen globally and in America right now. These foreign people, I'm seeing these Asian businesses that are being boycotted by Aborigine Americans, Aborigine American women as well. The women that stand up and fight for what they believe in globally. That's why the women's rights movement for women to be come over here and work from other countries, dark and light. Yeah, they needed Aborigine American women to be a part of that. Why? Because it was righteous. Okay, we thought we were fighting for a righteous cause, and also are the original women of this land. This land is originally ruled by a righteous matriarchy. Okay, so they needed our help. This is why a lot of these foreigners are looking to the men, Aborigine foundational American men and women, like help me, help me. But guess what? They would these same groups that worked with the government against us was racially profiling us. Okay, with this government, hey, don't deal with those Black Americans, to the Africans, to the Mexicans, to the all of them, whether they were legal immigrants or illegal immigrants. They all Voltron, the dark light, different features, whatever. Mixtures of immigrants, even Caribbeans, and they all worked against us to get trinkets from this government that were owed to us. And now they're telling them that their shit is over. They got to pack their shit and they got to get out of here. They don't got to go home, but they got to get out of here. And now you got certain so-called Mexicans uh running and fighting the police certain different old immigrants and, legal immigrants and illegal immigrants, upset and in an uproar, but nothing is working. Why? Because as Aboriginal Americans, this government turned against us. What do you think the Civil War was about? What do you think them forcing us into labor contracts was about? And different periods, and laying off the males so that the family didn't have money to eat, and then the women had to go out and work and uphold the family. And those were not gender roles that were organic with nature. It was them doing it to as a experiment, as a study. Even with the Tuskegee Airmen, they were injecting them with syphilis and telling them that it was hepatitis B shots. It was many more experiments on Aboriginal Americans to test us, to test us, to push us to our brink, to destroy us, and nothing took us out because we are of the holy people, and the Most High Mother and Father favors us as a holy people when we are trying to do right, when we are really trying to do right, not just Bible thumping, and then as soon as you leave or in the church parking lot or in the church, being a devil. The time for that is over. I'm hearing the Americas is, or the spirit of Babylon in the Americas and globally is leading to an economic collapse. The U.S. corporation operating and stealing American resources, okay, and feeding it and funneling it to different parts of the world and different countries, being remote controlled by from the UK, Britain. Yep, it's coming to an end. The prophet that prophecy and the time for foreigners ruling in America is over, and we don't need no foreigner to govern our land. We can govern ourselves. Those of us that want to do things and live according to the Most High and live like a righteous life, we're going to be protected. Our lands are going to be protected. Our children are going to be protected. Those of our people that are niggas and ignorant niggas and bitches and want to go along with that stereotypical BS, okay, they're going to be wiped off the planet along with all these other people. That's what I'm picking up on. Yeah, this is I'm picking up on a lot of energy. The the economic collapse is inevitable, okay, because it was built, this system, this foreign system in American land, okay, with them hijacking our American republic and then enforcing this US de facto government, all had to do with racially profiling us, creating glass ceilings and tricks and traps, for us. Yeah, and it has to die. The pale horse, the four horses of the apocalypse is confirmed with the pale horse. It has to die. The system has to fall because it was built off of hate, off of murder, off of bloodshed, off of theft, off of witchcraft, off of demonic destiny swaps, okay, of these Europeans, okay, wanting to destiny swap with the Aboriginal Americans. And everybody, that is why the American government gives to everybody else globally and rewarded foreigners coming into America that were breaking laws, being devils, okay, getting citizenship, breaking laws, being devils. They rewarded them for it, for being racist towards the Aboriginal Americans, being prejudiced towards the American Indians, okay, Aboriginal Americans, Black Americans. Sent them into our communities and didn't give us businesses for our own communities because they wanted to cripple us. They know that we'll be successful. We've been successful time and time again before they allowed these other waves of foreigners to come in, the dark ones and the light ones. We fought for the right for different dark-skinned foreigners, the Africans, the Caribbeans, certain darker-skinned foreigners to be able to come in to America, North American territory of the U.S. where they operate, because they only wanted pale foreigners to come in. They didn't need them, because they already had us. They didn't need them. They used them to disenfranchise us, all of these immigrants, to be buffers between the Aboriginal Americans that they wanted to put as the permanent bottom class, which is really should be on the top. And we're going back to the top because it's our land, it's our shit. And the so-called pale Europeans, they had created this false system and or turned the system against us to put them on top and to give them certain privileges, okay, and certain leeway that we did not get. And then they extended that to new coming foreigners of dark and light complexion. Hence why the Somalians and Africans and the so-called Mexicans, the so-called ones that say they're brown people, okay, on their driver's license, everybody got white down there. It had nothing to do with complexion and phenotype. It had everything to do with you being the originals of the land and then wanting to steal everything from you, black, putting you basically as non-existent in the governmental system. Hence the black codes. It had nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has everything to do that we're the Aboriginal Americans, and they wanted the destiny swap with us and steal everything from us and take it for themselves and give it to other foreigners that don't come from people that they could be proud of. They come from fleers and thieves and murderers and killers. Back then and all the way up until now. That's what it was about. White meant that you were not from the Americas and this territory before they got here on those boats from Europe. We were the people that was here watching these people come on the boats. They wanted us to be black, so-called black in this system, to put us on the bottom, to put us as a permanent underclass. Everybody else was white, and and whether they were pale. Well, it started off with the pale faces and the dark Europeans that helped them get here, and then it extended over time to them opening up the floodgates of America, okay, and flooding it with immigrants, legal and illegal, and they got to go back home now. The system is collapsing, and all of these foreigners that got big and fat off of our money, off of trust funds that was left to us by our ancestors as foundational Americans, Aboriginal American Indians, our hard work, our inventions, our industries. These so-called modern day Hindustanians wouldn't be able to come over here and get into tech like a lot of these Africans and all of these Asians as well, if we didn't create the technology for there to be a smartphone, for there to be an internet. Yeah, I can't make it up. Mass layoffs. I can't make it up. Destiny swapping. Yeah, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is why these mass layoffs are coming, because the system is collapsing, because it wasn't built off of integrity. It was built off of feeding and stealing and extracting resources, and stealing and theft of identity from the original people. And now everybody is facing the job layoffs. But they don't know how to weather the storm like us as Aboriginal Americans, because we've been weathering the storm for a long goddamn time. Yeah, destiny swap, of a Pacific group. Yeah, it was okay when they was throughout the centuries and the ages, okay, of the last, let's say, 300 years, where it was this system would do mass layoffs of Aboriginal American women and men in different countries and different states and etc., different territories, and then disenfranchise them, and then, close up certain businesses. See, when we had our own shit, we had the power to keep our own shit going. When you integrate your shit and other people are controlling it, or people that look like you that are in allegiance with other people controlling it, that's how you basically you go into economic collapse. Okay, this shit is no longer happening here, and the America, everything is falling the fuck down. I'm hearing the bridge is falling down, the house of cards is falling down, and a lot of these foreigners is getting their nigga wake up call, their immigrant wake up call, that they don't belong here, and that they are going to get sent back in one way or the other, kicking or screaming. Yeah, they no longer giving these immigrants a free pass to break the law, while Aboriginal Americans secret society in the reverse. I can't make it up. While Aboriginal Americans, especially those that are not a part of these secret societies that get a pass, boule niggas, okay, have to go to jail, gotta pay time. Yeah, I can't make it up. Split the deck on illegal mass immigration. These secret parties, Democrat, Republican parties, allow these people to come over here, mass immigration, to benefit off of slave labor, cheap labor, prostitution, child trafficking, okay, drugs, smuggling the drugs. Look, I can't make it up. The four horses of the apocalypse. I can't make it up. They don't have the power anymore. The power is going back into the original people of the land, the righteous people of the land. And this is something, oh God, that is in the hands of the divine and in the hands of nature. Y'all like, share, subscribe. This is something new that I'm doing. I'm so grateful to do it. Spirit is allowing me to channel and speak and talk. And I'm so grateful, all honor to the divine and my spiritual team, the Most High Mother and Father. And I'm just so grateful and thankful. All honor to the sun, and to the original moon, Shashet, and to all of you that have been here kicking it with me today. Okay, this is new. Okay, I'm definitely gonna get better at it. I definitely was guided today to make these cards. So I'm very, very excited. I literally made all these cards today, with channeling before I got on, and I'm just super excited to see what Spirit wants me to do next, wants to use me for next. As long as Spirit is the only one using me, I have no complaints. Y'all, this is the message. Like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Join the tribe, join the family. And yeah, this is the message. Peace.